Good afternoon, I'm Alan Unell, and this series of videos is Healthcare Advocacy, where we address problems in the healthcare system and try and make a better system for all of us. We're going to be talking about the Comstock Act today. Before we do, let me mention that down below in the YouTube description box is a link to the Healthcare Advocacy daily newsletter, mostly daily, that has the text for today's video. Also, all of the background materials, studies, actions, everything is in there. You can make use of it. You can subscribe for free to Healthcare Advocacy. And let's get started. So the first thing is, let's be really clear. Taking away a woman's bodily autonomy, the right to an abortion, is a clear form of subjugation by those that don't think women can be trusted to manage their own health. The lack of access to an abortion puts women's lives at risk. Women risk death when their water breaks too soon, from sepsis and other things. They also risk loss of fertility. This is brought to you by legislators, not doctors, who think they know what is best for others. They don't. We've seen a rogue anti-abortion judge in Texas, his name is Kaczmarek, federal judge, try to declare mifepristone, one of the two abortion medications, illegal to dispense in the United States. Now that case is not over. It can be brought up again by people with standing, and that was the advice given at the Supreme Court. Frequently, abortion medications are provided by telemedicine. This is crucial in areas where it's hard to get to a doctor. Medication abortion prescribed by telemedicine is just as safe and just as effective as in-person care. It also has immense impacts in reducing barriers to care. Even in states that protect abortion access, patients face many geographic and financial hurdles to abortion care. It's especially true in rural areas and in underserved communities where the nearest clinic providing an abortion can be hours away and hundreds of miles to get to. The ability to mail medication abortion pills has offered a lifeline to people who need access to abortion. Unfortunately, it's also at the heart of an increasingly popular anti-abortion strategy that could go well beyond telemedicine abortion to endanger all abortion access. Now, during oral arguments, Justice Thomas, and Justice Samuel Alito invoked the Comstock Act, which was an 1873 law that prohibits mailing obscene materials in the mail, including abortion material. At the time of its inception, it was part of a crusade by Anthony Comstock against sexual freedom. The history of the anti-abortion movement in America, it's not a particularly nice one, of course, but it is that white, usually Protestant women with money could afford to get an abortion, and there was a concern that white Christians would be replaced by people of color and immigrants because of a declining birth rate amongst white Christians. This is the beginning of the Great Replacement theory. This is in the 1870s. Now hold that thought. The application and enforcement of the Comstock Act has changed significantly since its passage, and for the last 50 years it has not been applied to the mailing of abortion materials until recently, with anti-abortion advocates pushing to bring this application back from the dead. They argue that the courts or a second Trump administration could invoke the ban on mailing any drug or device used for abortion. And that's a stance that has been echoed out loud by Senator J.D. Vance, Republican senator from Ohio, the newly minted Republican vice presidential nominee. Legislation can fix this. Senator Tina Smith is preparing to introduce the Stop Comstock Act. And in the newsletter, there is a link to her one-page summary. Briefly, the Stop Comstock Act would repeal language in the Comstock laws that could be used by anti-abortion administrations to ban the mailing of mifepristone and other drugs used in medication abortions, instruments and equipment used in abortions, and educational material related to sexual health. Medication abortion is how nearly 60% of all abortions take place in this country today. It is the most common form of abortion in the U.S. Representative Becca Balint is also introducing into the House of Representatives a companion bill, so it's going to be the same as the Senator's bill, with co-leads Representative Bush, Escobar, Scanlon, Watson, Coleman. The legislation in the Senate has been sponsored by Senators Elizabeth Warren, Catherine Cortez Masto, Sheldon Whitehouse, Debbie Stabenow, Jean Shaheen, Jeff Merkley, Amy Klobuchar, Tammy Duckworth, Mazie Hirono, John Fetterman, Cory Booker, Peter Welch, Alex Padilla, Richard Blumenthal, Kristen Gillibrand, Maggie Hassan, and LaFonso Butler, and Brian Schatz. My mistake. Here's the thing. It's nice to have a bill written. It's nice to have a bunch of sponsors. It doesn't mean anything. It's law. So we need to act. Here's today's action. We need to remind our members of Congress and senators that abortion care is health care. At least 20% of the women who need that care get their medication by mail. Ask them to actively support and pass Senator Tina Smith's and Representative Becca Balint's Stop the Comstock Act. I know that some of them are already supporters, but they need to get this moving to a vote. Phone and email for elected reps is in a link that I'm going to include in the YouTube description box. I also have a script that you can use if you want to modify it and talk to them or send it. Or, my favorite, the simplest one, use ResistBot. On your cell phone, all you have to do is send a text message to 50409, and here's what you text: SIGN, SIGN, space, PMXNGB. Do that. So SIGN, PMXNGB on your cell phone to 50409, and here's what you'll be sending them. I'm your constituent, and I am fed up with women being treated as second-class citizens without bodily autonomy. Aren't you? The Comstock Act can be used to prevent the mailing of critical abortion medications. There's nothing in law that precludes application of the Comstock Act being applied to abortion medications. More than 60% of all abortions use those medications safely, and 20% of them are sent to women by mail. Invoking the Comstock Act would harm women who need that medicine in the U.S. and unduly harm women who live in rural and underserved areas. There are several things you can do to restore women to full citizenship, and I want you to do it. First, make sure that women can access abortion medication by mail and telehealth, and actively support Senator Tina Smith's and Representative Becca Balint's Stop Comstock Act. I include in the email a link to it so that they can see what it is. I say use discharge petitions, rules of suspension, or whatever means are necessary to get this to a vote and start helping the women who are your constituents. Then you can pass the Women's Health Protection Act, Senate Bill 701 and House Bill 12, to restore the right to an abortion nationwide. Then please stand up and speak long and loud about your support for women's rights. Thank you. Okay, that's it for today. You can put your comments or questions or areas you'd like research done into the comment box, or you can email them to me at healthcareadvocacy1, all one word, @gmail.com. That's it. We'll talk later. Have a good day.